everybody, welcome back to Recordology and welcome into the Vinyl Nation. Now, tonight we are going to look at something which is completely new to this channel. We're going to be looking at film, specifically a film projector. You're not going to want to miss this. So I thought I would do something completely different for today's show. And I bought this. Now there's no secret here because you saw the thumbnail. This is a film projector. Let me tell you a little something about film. I went through film school. I worked in the professional film and television broadcast industry for a number of years. My wife and I are actually award-winning filmmakers, which is super cool and super fun. We still do some projects outside of the YouTube world, although I don't know how we have time for that. It's crazy. But I haven't really touched film outside of novelty sort of things in the last, 20 plus years since I was in film school. So I'm not a novice to film by any means, but I am definitely haven't been an active hobbyist. Let me just say that. So when I came across this little guy on the shelf at the Goodwill today, I was like, well, that's kind of cool and different. It was open, so I knew what it was. Otherwise, I'd be like, this could be anything from a little, who knows what. Sometimes I always open these cases thinking it's going to be like a projector or a reel-to-reel, and it ends up being a sewing machine. I don't know if that ever happens to you. I've gotten to know what a sewing machine case looks like, but this is indeed something fun. Now, let me turn this the right way so you can see it. The handle there says Argus. Now, Argus is a camera company, so it's not a huge surprise that they would make a projector. This is an 8mm projector, by the way. They were very prolific, very, very prolific. In fact, their cameras, specifically their C3, I think it was called, competed with Kodak in the consumer camera space heavily and is arguably one of the most influential cameras of all time. Their Model A is a close second to that. They were eventually absorbed by, I think it was Sylvania, and phased out. Now there's another Argus camera company that made digital cameras, decades later, but separate company, same name kind of deal. Kind of like Crosley is owned by Modern Marketing Concepts, Victrola is owned by Innovative Technology, stuff like that. Anyway, I digress. Let's take a look at this bad boy. The badging has fallen off here. I haven't tested this, plugged it in, or anything. I was trying to find an outlet in the store, but I was like, you know what? Heck it. Let's just go for it and take the journey. So, by opening this cover, isn't that cool? I am, symbolically opening up a new phase of Recordology as we, hopefully, unless this bombs out hardcore, begin a journey into, film and consumer at-home projection of movies and film. I think that'll be really cool. We'll take a look at everything in detail. The big moment will be, powering it up, see if the bulb works, see if the motor works, and if we need to replace belts, if we need to buy bulbs or a bulb, etc., etc. So this is the Argus M500. This dates to about 1958, 1959. This is a consumer-oriented projector, and it was sold on the merits of its size and quality. It is only 8mm. The last time that I was, around a film projector for a significant amount of time was actually when I went through the public school system, and it was so fun when you'd walk into class and they would have their, the Bell and Howell 16mm projector, sitting there ready to rock and roll. And if it was a big reel, you knew you were good. If it was a small one like this, you knew that it wasn't going to last that long. But that was a fun thing. So very excited to dig into this a little deeper, make sure it works, all that good stuff. Ought to be fun. Let's talk about film for a little bit. So my grandpa was actually a filmmaker for the state of Colorado. This is one of his films, and as you can tell, it's pretty brittle now, and I need to get this digitally backed up and restored. I think that would make a lot of sense, but we have a couple, literally only a couple of these films left. Now this is a 16mm film. So this projector isn't going to help with that project. Similarly, this is 35mm motion picture film. And it's pretty scratched up, as you can see there. But these films have an interesting backstory. So as a young filmmaker in film school, I worked at a movie theater. And the projectionist and I became friends. And these are motion picture trailers. These are I believe 30 seconds. No, some of these are bigger. Some of these are like like this one's 2.5 minutes. This is a Warner Brothers film trailer. Befriended him, and I said, you know what? They throw these away because they weren't sending these back to the studios. They were just getting thrown away. I said, could I have some of those before they're thrown away? I'd like to just sort of collect them. I don't think you can sell them. Like, I think eBay prohibits you selling these. But he's like, yeah, I'll give you some. They just go in the trash. You know, they're all going to be faded within 10 years. They'll be blank. And I said, well, that's a bummer, but yeah, I'll go for it. As you can tell, that's not the case. They're very vibrant. The colors are fantastic. And it's an interesting thing, you know, again, this projector is not going to help that. But if I don't, you know, what other show am I going to have an opportunity to talk about this stuff? So what I love about this film from an audio and just sort of geek standpoint is the technology itself. This is scope. So you'll see the images sort of compressed. So it used an anamorphic lens to, you know, spread it out upon projection. But I want to talk about the sound encoding here. So you're going to see right there those white sort of blurbs right there. That's the optical track. That's the stereo optical soundtrack. But you may be saying to yourself, wait a minute, I thought movies were surround sound. And indeed they are. So the DTS, or Dolby Theater Sound, is encoded in these gray areas between the sprocket holes. You'll notice the area between the sprocket holes on this side is sort of grayed out, where this is neutral, this is clear, there's nothing there. And there's a little Dolby logo on every single one of those, which is fascinating. And then on the side here is, I think the blue is the encoded SDDS sound. So an amazing, amazing way to encode, you know, digital and film. So I've got several of them here. This one is, not sure what movie that is. We already looked at this one. This is My Fellow Americans, SDDS, surround sound, 2 minutes and 9 seconds. 20th Century Fox, One Fine Day. Just cool. And again, this has nothing really to do with this projector other than it seemed like a good excuse to get out the 35 millimeter film reels. I have some others too, but this is sort of what I grabbed in the moment. All right, enough stalling. Let's look at the projector itself. So I'd like to also mention that you may be saying to yourself, okay, what kind of 8mm film do you have? Right now I don't have anything. I've got an empty box for a consumer home movie, 8mm reel, and besides that, nothing. However, in anticipation of getting into this, I've been keeping an eye out. I am aware of a collection that's affordable that I will be hopefully acquiring in the very near future so we can do more content and actually show some films on here. In the absence of that, we're just going to check this out. So the take-up reel is a metal reel, and it is located in the lid here. And as you can see, 8mm. It's obviously silent projection there. Oh, I should have left it off because I want to look at this. This is going to show us the film path. I almost said tape path. Been working in reel-to-reel tape so much that I'm forgetting that this is actually film and not tape. So that will show the path that we need to thread the film reels. But I figured the film will come on a reel, and then you'll use this as a take-up reel. So I guess this is, again, the M500 from Argus, 1958, 59-ish. It's got a forward mode, still mode, and reverse mode. Down here we've got the controls for the lamp on and off, the motor on and off. Argus Cameras of Ann Arbor, Michigan, division of Sylvania. Okay, so that does help date it because I think that acquisition occurred in 59. So this would probably be 59, about what I've been saying. Let's look at the lens assembly over here. So the lens is completely self-contained in this, and you will notice my absence of proper terminology again. I have just been out. We weren't doing anything on film at that point. It was all tape. So we got our lens here. Looks like the glass is in pretty decent condition. I'm assuming we'll need to clean it, but again, that's very doable. I love the color. By the way, this is all metal. It's very heavy. It feels like, you know, Eisenhower era, so you can thread the film in there and that holds it in place. Down here, and then back up to the other side there. Looking in the top, you can see a monster bulb. I think it says Sylvania. It doesn't work, but we're going to find out here in a minute. All right, down here, cord is sort of stuffed in there. some sort of knob rolling around in here. I'm not sure what this is or where it goes. So I'm going to hold on to that. What else is down? Put the cord. And again, here's another look at these switch. Plug it in. I mean, that's literally about all there is to it to look at on the outside. The back has these vents, and it looks like some sort of insulation on the side there. I'm sure this is a very loud projector. But if we get to the point where it's making noise, it's a good problem to have. So one thing I do want to show you is this arm up top. I think this is cool, how this stows away down there and then ratchets up into place. If you spin these, you definitely feel like there's some sort of, you know, belt or band of some sort attached. It's probably not a good idea to do what I just did, but all right, we've got to find out whether or not this thing works or not. So let me go ahead and plug it in finally. I'm not seeing anything happen with the lamp. Oops. Oh, yes. Yes. She works. Whoa. It just takes a minute for that bulb to heat up and go. Now it's off. Oh, because I turned it off. Look at that. It works, you guys. Oh, I'm so excited now. And this is moving. If you know the smell, you know the smell, you know the smell. And it has that smell. I feel like I'm back in school. That is very weird. Okay. Surprisingly not too loud either. I got to get some films now. Happy problem. And we'll definitely be featuring more of this unit. All right, guys. It's as easy as that. I hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, give me a thumbs up and comment down below. Let me know if you've ever thought about getting into film, if you would ever consider it. If you've got any tips for me, I would really appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. Stay tuned for this weekend's show because it's going to be cool. In fact, I'm going to tell you what we're doing. We're actually reviewing a Crossley Cruiser. Yep, it's a 3rd gen. It'll be interesting. I got to spin it so it's like super interesting though. So, you know, not everybody is sophisticated as this audience for the Vinyl Nation. So I've got to sort of spin it up. We'll see how I do that. But anyway, join me this Sunday, guys. Take care.